Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Balkan Sis, the show that's going to help you navigate the massive challenges of life, motherhood, culture, identity, and belonging with more ease, acceptance, joy, and purpose. Thanks to each and every one of you that come back every time to listen, learn, heal, and feel inspired. If you do love the podcast, then do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. It really does help spread the word. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Balkan Sis. Thank you so much for subscribing and following and sharing and liking the last episode that I put out to welcome you all to Balkan Sis. This week we have two fabulous guests, Amar and Lejla from the Fića crew. So I'm really, really excited to bring these two guests on board. They're our first guests ever because they are just so exciting and they have almost 27,000 followers on Instagram and they've really made a popular name for themselves. They have a YouTube channel, they're all over Instagram and their content is just awesome. They have a little son called Idris and another little surprise on the way. So you'll have to listen to it will be a two-part episode. So because we've recorded for so long, I did ask you guys on Instagram if you wanted a two-part episode or one episode, and you all said two parts, so it's easier to listen. So this is part number one, and the next episode will be part number two. So that way it's a little bit easier to digest. But in this first episode, I'm going to talk to Amar and Lejla about how they started. So how they started their oh my god, I'm losing my voice, guys. Honestly, it's been a crap few weeks. But in this episode, I'm basically asking them how they started their Fića crew page, how the car came about. So if you don't know what a Fića is, I really, really recommend that you look it up on Google. It's an iconic car, and there's definitely a big story behind it, a big history, and what it represents. Also, we talk about how Amar and Lejla met each other. So Lejla is from Switzerland and Amar is from Melbourne in Australia. So obviously, originally they're both from Bosnia. But yeah, so we talk about how they met, how they started their family, how the Fića crew adventures are going now that they have a little baby, and also another one on the way. And honestly, on their Instagram page, there's highlights of them traveling with the Fića all over the world. So I'm not going to discuss anymore or reveal anymore. You have to listen to the interview and find out all the cool places they've seen and traveled. So if you just think a small green car in Iceland, driving on the ice and driving on snow, it's pretty crazy and it's pretty awesome. So they really inspired me, these two episodes. It really just inspired me to live more. It inspired me to have more joy in my life. So, if it's not necessarily getting in a car and just driving and taking off and going all around the world, if you're not able to do that right now, I really hope that these two episodes sort of give you a boost in life. They're both digital nomads. They both also have properties and they're just a beautiful little family, and there's so much adventure on their page and so much fun and so much love. And they're all about connecting the diaspora as well. So, we're all on the same mission too. We're that bridging generation, and they're definitely showing off Bosnia. So, they want more people to come to Bosnia. They're currently in Sarajevo, and they do have properties that they rent out, and they support amazing charities in Bosnia as well. So they do really great charity work. Um, they collaborate with fantastic, Balkan brands and Bosnian companies. So they're just humble people, they're good people, and they're really living their dream. You can definitely see how much that shows through on their page. So I really encourage you to head over on their Instagram. Also, if you like this episode, please share it, please like it, subscribe. It really does make a huge difference on how many people we can reach with that. And also, give me some of your feedback. Let me know what you thought of the episode, what you think of the Fića crew and their adventures. And let me know what are some ways that you inject adventure into your everyday life? I would love to know. For us, it's taking Vito to really, really fun places and doing really fun things. So just on the weekend, we had a awesome little birthday party, and it was just so cool to see him jumping and dancing and playing games, and he was holding hands with the other kids. And, so joy can come in different ways. It doesn't have to be this big global adventure, but Layla and Amar, they definitely take the bull, the horns, by the bull or bull by the horns, whatever the saying is in Australian. I'm bad with sayings. And they're really squeezing the last drop from that lemon. They're really making lemonade out of life. And I absolutely love that. We talk a lot about parenting. We also talk a lot about, what's been passed down to us. We talk about what their family thinks of their quote unquote job and what they thought about them traveling with this feature, all around the world, and how that's changing now and how that's evolving and progressing now that they're growing their family. So I really hope that you guys enjoy our first interview with our first two guests. In the next episode, I'm going to come up with some awesome topics as well. And I've got so many cool guests lined up with so many different visions and so many different titles and jobs and ideas. And I just love it. I love this. I love that we get to do this together. I love that we get to learn together. We get to listen to other people as well together, and we just get to share our stories. It's awesome. So here's a feature crew story, guys. It's long overdue. We waited for months to get together to do this because of the time difference, and also we have kids. So when we did it, we were really, really excited. And here's part one of the feature crew episode, and I hope you guys love it. Thank you for being here. I hope you're all well. Sending my love to you all, and see you guys in the next episode. Ciao. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Balkan Sis podcast. I always feel awkward doing this part because it's just not like I have to be like perky when it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, but I'm so excited because I have two amazing special guests here who I have been meaning to record with for a long time, and we finally have done it. So I've got the feature crew here, and we've got these two beautiful lovebirds. Like, you guys are so cute together, honestly.
For you, it's okay. We can drop the act.
No, honestly, I mean it. You guys look in love with each other on the pictures. I love it. It's an inspiration. Andrew and I should take some notes. But this is, the two amazing humans behind this awesome bloody page. Like, it's, I don't know how I stumbled across you guys, like I said to you before in conversation, but I'm so glad that I did. And then I stalked your page for like forever. Like, I went through all of your highlights. Like, I watched I was like, whoa, this is awesome. But I'm probably never going to do this.
I think we need to update. We need to update the highlights from time to time because of people, good followers, amazing followers like yourself. Because sometimes we just let it lapse a bit.
Oh, honestly, your content is beautiful and your page is very inspirational and motivational as well. And I think there's things that you can take from it to adapt into your own life. So without me rambling on too much about your page, it is your page. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys. So can you guys please introduce yourselves and give me a little bit of a rundown of who you are, where you're from, and all that stuff? Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, it should be ladies first, but I guess I'll start because the whole page and everything started because of me. My name is Amar Chamo. I maybe from the Aussie accent, you'll figure out that I did spend 23 years of my life in Australia. Australia that taught me to love traveling, to constantly be buzzing for more and, looking for new adventures and whatnot. But then the Bosnian heritage also bringing me back to Europe as often as I could with the cash that was involved, obviously, with traveling. As soon as I got a job in Australia, my own cash, it was virtually every year I made my way over to Europe and just traveled. Like Boston was my base, and I would travel without a plan, really. Yeah. So we just kind of look at a map and go that way. In the early days, nothing has changed. Except a lot has changed, but we'll get to that. I get the long podcast, so we'll get to that. But at the start, I was just renting a car that I could find. And then 7 years ago now, let's say 2015, I think, we purchased a car called Fića here in Yugoslavia, which actually is a Zastava 750. So, but it's licensed as a Fiat 600. So it's actually an Italian car that the Yugoslavs got the rights to really print out in Yugoslavia. And FYI, fun fact, you can actually find the same car in Spain as a Stout 600. So they're
Wow.
Sprouts, Fiat, and Rasta, which were virtually the same car.
I think a lot of people wouldn't know what a feature is, like that was like a staple in our childhood, like in our upbringing.
Yeah.
So I could understand the nostalgia behind it. So I'm glad that you mentioned it, like throughout your
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah. Why that car? Why did you gravitate towards that
Just
car?
like, I guess just like how to put it, everyone else reacts to that car when they see us. My mum reacted to seeing that car, like 7, 8 years ago. So maybe 8 years ago, she saw some guy driving it in Goražde, where I'm from. And she's like, oh, that's so cute. Because, I mean, for the people that don't know, you should maybe Google it. It's a very cute car, very small, and our one has a specific green color to it. So when she saw it, she kind of did what everyone else does. And, oh, I really want this car, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, the guy sold it on to someone, like virtually a scrap. My dad found out about that, and we actually rescued the car from some, odd part, some junkyard per se.
Wow.
And we kind of gave it a new lease of life. I think the car wasn't ready for it. I think it was just saying, let me die already.
Wow. That's bloody amazing. That's like a resurrection. That is like a whole story in itself. Like, honestly, I think there's like a whole podcast just on the car itself, which I should get an interview for that one. But I want to know more about Lejla, like beautiful Lejla.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit more about like where you were born and a little bit about your background and then also like how you guys met as well?
Straight into the deep end.
Straight into it.
Well, I was born in Bosnia too. I'm teaching. So my name is Lejla, Lejla Chavo, and Amar and me are married now. And I was born in Bosnia, but my parents moved also during the war to Switzerland. So I spent basically my whole life there. And Switzerland made it possible for me to travel as well quite a lot. I traveled to South America. I was in Australia for 8 months. And when I was, at the Gold Coast.
Oh,
I
that's
like
amazing.
for the
Well, come back again. Come back again.
months ago, right? Or was it?
No, 2009.
I thought it was this year as well, but I wasn't.
Don't worry, numbrain. It's like things in, it's.
Because the other.
Bring them up, right? That's what I'm doing.
So you were already into traveling at like a very young age as well. Like you were.
Yeah, I feel like really Switzerland made it possible. I really always liked my culture, heritage, and the background. We returned to Bosnia a couple of times during the year because Switzerland and Bosnia is not that far. So obviously we've come 3 times a year. But I also wanted to see more. So I traveled at a very young age to very exotic countries for me, let's say Australia, South America, at different places. And I guess we were destined to meet.
All the heavens aligned.
I wish I could tell a really cool story how we met on in one of our crazy trips because we have a similar style of traveling. I like to be a little bit more organized than Amar, but I love to have the freedom while I travel. I don't like to pre-book everything. I like to be with locals. I like to be a simple traveler, like no fancy hotels, no, like big places, rather nature and simple things. But I can't tell the story that we met during our travels because we actually met on social media. But it's interesting. I had a common friend who I met in Bosnia.
I'm trying to make it better. If the algorithm put us together.
I love that.
We had the algorithm. The best
So
part
hang
was the
on,
algorithm.
when she says online, is that like Instagram, Facebook? Or...
No, this was on Instagram. So this was
Just when they started with the messages,
this okay. So
like from his private
yeah, so
profile.
this was my
So
private profile before Fića cruising this thing. So I'd like to think that it's my good looks that
Oh, I
yeah,
love it. That's so sweet. So you guys
you
had
know,
a mutual. So you guys had a mutual friend.
yeah, yeah. So
Ah, okay.
I met in Sarajevo
Sarajevo.
traveling, and but like he didn't like how to put it. He didn't connect us. It was literally like she
Yeah.
was a suggestion on the
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Like on the friends thing. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was lucky.
Yeah.
That was very lucky. I mean, you
Yeah.
consider how many, I mean, how much you scroll, and then yeah.
But
So
in general, I mean, so you were just like on a trip, like to Sarajevo from Australia, like you were just visiting, and then she
oh,
was just traveling through.
no, we talked for ages on Instagram.
Ah,
Yeah.
oh my God, that is like a really long history.
And,
I thought,
yeah, 2016, I think we started
wow,
chatting. Oh my god, I think that's the boring part of our relationship, where it's just like, well, not
that's
for
the best part. That's the best
not for
part.
us, not
That's
for
the
us,
building the
not for anyone else.
foundations. Nah, the building the
Yeah,
foundations is the best part. Like, the
well,
boring parts, not exciting parts is actually the best parts because that's where you're like building and forming a connection with each other before you've even really had a chance to even really be together physically, which is amazing. So like who like you went obviously then to Europe, like to see her, to meet her.
well, yeah. I mean, I was in Boston on one of my trips, and then I actually flew to Switzerland.
I think in 2016 is the first time, like we started chatting in 2015, and 2016 is the first time when
I
we
mean, we had a coffee in Sarajevo. The first time I saw her, we had a coffee in Sarajevo, and
nothing spectacular.
I love that. A coffee in Sarajevo. Guys, I would like kill to have a coffee in Sarajevo.
yeah, but we weren't really super vibing, so it's just like it was cool. It was nice, but like we were too busy for each other.
I think also sometimes we have this expectation because we used to talk really intensely, very long. Luckily, the Australian or the Melbourne traffic is really bad. So he would call me in the morning and be at least an hour in the traffic.
Yeah, I'd be stuck in
And
traffic talking to her while she's going to sleep. I'll
Yeah,
be going to
yeah.
yeah,
her.
I was avoiding to study at that time.
She was like, oh, like, where's this cute guy? Let me see what he's doing. Is he awake yet?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Did you guys think anything at that time, like anything was going to evolve from it? Like, obviously, was there high expectations? Was it like, let's see where it goes? I mean,
I mean, I'll start by saying like I keep telling Lejla, like when I saw your profile, I was like, oh, this one's good. This one's cute. But like
it's like, I'm putting a ring on it. Like, she doesn't know it yet. I don't want to scare her off.
it looks great. Like how do I put it? You can't. I was aiming that way the whole time, if I can say that. Like trying to develop something, but in the back of my mind, like I was doubting it the whole time because as smooth as everything was, she was in Switzerland and I was in Australia. So it was like
And actually,
I can't do this.
even when we stopped talking because it was just too much. It was like something we didn't really see a end, a happy end to it. That's why I remember because so after the first meeting, we had a second meeting in Barranca where he introduced me to the green feature, and I think then I fell for him.
And then she was like, oh, okay. So it's the
So we
beach
just
time, wasn't you?
after time, after coffee time, we spent some proper time together talking and driving around.
Now she's lying. It's just the green feature. I looked up and she was like,
I'm like,
oh,
the green feature does have like cool looks. Like it does have like privlačite, like it's
yeah.
it's not you. I'm sorry. No.
Uh,
So you had got the feature at that time, like it was all happening all very simultaneously between the two of you then, like with the car and the relationship and everything. So I mean, what was your plan at that time? Like draw up this car, go back to Australia. Like what were you thinking?
What
But
that
like
me or
for quite a while, I think we both weren't thinking anything because we were just going back to our normal lives. Like
yeah,
I was still studying in Switzerland. I was very happy at that time. I was living in another. I grew up in Zurich, but I was living in Bern because of my university, and I really liked what I was studying. I really liked the people I lived with, and it was just a great time I had. And it
yeah,
was not even a thought for me to move to Australia or Bosnia. But yeah, I guess in a way everything kind of built up, and like the kind of peak of it was travel together to Morocco or
Yeah,
Morocco.
because before I traveled with Lejla with the Fića, I had gone 2016 was my trip to Italy. After Italy, the next year I did Turkey, and we went to Istanbul with the Fića. After Istanbul, yeah, then we traveled, yes, 2019.
No, 2018. 2017, you traveled with Adele and Nancy to Turkey, and you came to visit me in Switzerland at that time. But we were still not really sure where it is.
Yeah, because it's a big commitment, right? Like it's, because it's sort of like these two polar opposite, countries, like different, like, you're like you said, you were studying, like you had some sort of future mapped out for yourself as well. So what pulled you to start the Fića? Like, I mean, did you just think I'm going to travel, I'll make a page, like, because you made the page in 2017, now you've almost got 25,000 followers. So, I mean, did you at that stage think this is going to be something, or was it just like, let's go have fun, get this car, go back to Australia, live my life? Like,
so I mean, the idea came pretty early on when we had our hashtag, like, because we were the Italy trip, the first big trip that we did. Like, the first trip that I ever did was just go to the beach and back, and that was good. That's where I kind of understood what the Fića meant to people. I really saw that people would make a connection like that with it, right? And then the next year when we did the Italy trip, I went with my brother and my friend Kenan through Italy, and we're like, well, things need to be shared, So we made our own hashtag. And with that, once I got back to Australia, I was like, I kind of deserve the term profile. Like, I've got these photos. I don't want to be kind of, putting it on my private account. I mean, it's not a private account, but like on my personal account. And it was all kind of, I always liked, when traveling, I like to share my stories. Like, even when coming back to Australia, I'd like to kind of sell Europe to people, sell Boston to people. Like, come back, go see, it's good, it's beautiful, it's this and that. And that was definitely one way of doing it. So I created the profile, started posting, and at first it was quite small, as per usual. What happened was I recorded and edited a video when we traveled through Europe, and I posted it online. I think it was still on Facebook and stuff. I don't think Instagram supported it. It's on YouTube, actually. And we got spotted by Nejda Kondurovic from N1, and then she did like a very cool interview with us. She was driving with us and stuff. And then, snowball slowly started happening. The biggest kind of leap in followers and stuff was when we traveled to Iceland. So when we went
Honeymoon trip.
honeymoon to Iceland.
that was crazy. I was like, I think in shock. I'm like, this little car is on ice. Like, what the hell? Like, it was like trying to comprehend like this like ancient car. Like, do you know what I mean? So people freak out here when it rains and they have like a brand new cars. Like, like they don't know how to drive, So it was just like seeing that like that type of car, like the age of the car and then the locations where you guys were taking it, like it was just unreal. Like, and the amount of times you guys broke down, I was like, mentally, I wouldn't be able to handle that. Like, Layla, good on you. Like, I'd be having a breakdown. Like,
Oh, but I learned a lot from that. Like, I think the first times when it broke down in like when we were traveling through Morocco, it was harder for me because I had to
This is
handle my
prior
kids.
this is prior being married, and but we're also we're so random. Let's say traveling in a screen car, the car breaks down, and
and I guess you sort of expected with that age of car, like it comes with the territory, right? Like, there's going to be hits and misses with it as well.
Amazing stories with it. Like, we love to tell the story how we actually like we how to say, like, when we chose to travel to Iceland, we knew it's going to be expensive to travel to all those countries. Europe, North Europe, especially Western Europe, is quite expensive. And Iceland especially. So we were very lucky that we had some cool sponsors around. But when we got like asked if we want to stay 1 week or 3 weeks in Iceland, we were like not really sure because who can afford that?
Yeah.
We knew Like if we are just staying for a week, it's going to be a rush, and who knows when we will return to Iceland. So we still chose 3 weeks against all
Smart. Yeah.
all the
Yeah, like all the odds. Hey, like you thought, why not just go for it? Like you seize the moment because you never know when it's going to happen again.
Exactly.
absolutely.
I mean, if we go just quickly back to the breakdowns, the
Yeah,
breakdown
that's what I want.
kind of would give it that you don't want to break it down. I mean, I'll be the first to say that.
This guy sounds like he likes it. I thought you were like, yeah, it's happening. Look, let's fix it.
Break
Like,
it down.
I mean, especially in remote places as well. Like, I mean, how do you go about like if you are in a remote place with bad reception? Like, how do you get to the next sort of
It's
auto shop? Like,
it's fascinating how good people are. It's fascinating how their willingness to help. It's fascinating that we've never been left stranded, even though we have broken down in super remote places and we have had pretty major issues with the car, per se. But
The very
I always say,
conditions as well,
yeah,
like
horrible
weather
conditions,
conditions, cold,
like freezing,
wind, and
but still,
rain.
there's always a solution out. Like yeah, you'll have maybe half an hour, couple of hours where it's bad. I mean, we're not in like of nowhere, like real. There's always someone there because it would be unsafe to really do that.
so
But
would that be part of your planning as well? Like, would you take that into consideration? I mean, as much as you're being spontaneous, like, are you thinking as well, okay, like we're going to go in this direction or go this way? Like, you have to pre-plan, I guess, fuel and things like that as well. Like, so there is obviously a lot of strategy that goes into it as well.
strategy, I mean, would just be like I strategize what spare parts to bring.
Mm.
So we can't bring everything. You can't bring another.
I know. I saw you had a suitcase at the top, and I'm like, hang on, like, because I didn't realize like everything was at the front. Like, you had like it was just mind-boggling. I'm just like, you guys are like fantastic, the way you are planning all the trips. Like,
And I guess you kind of do the minimum kind of lowest common denominator. Okay, I look at a part, I'm like, will this break? Probably not. So I put that aside. So I bring parts that are gonna break, and you kind of just osigurash. So
Mhm.
just kind of get enough to get
Yeah,
by.
yeah.
With that said, like for instance, when we broke down in Iceland, we didn't have the part because it was this part that you're not going to bring.
Mm.
So we ended up having an amazing time with this mechanic for 5 days, and I worked at his workshop, like on other cars. I wasn't working on my car. Lejla cooked them burek.
Oh, Lejla, you're cooking. Oh my God. Like, you've got to tell people as well what you studied because you do have a nutrition page, which I've been following closely, and I'm just like so bloody inspired. Like, and I saw you guys making satarash, like with the paprika. I'm like, oh, stop it. Like, just stop it. Like, you are like a lucky dude. If I'm going to get like broken down anywhere, I'd want to be with her. Like, and that was obviously it's part of the experience, right? Like it's part of the whole aura of the car because it's an expectation. It's not going to be probably smooth. What has been your favorite moment from all those times driving together? Like, have you had any favorite pockets of moments or like countries that you've been to or people you've met?
Um, I think I would really say like those start like my mindset changed with the feature because when it breaks down, it's horrible at that time because you think like, oh yeah, you wanted to see something, you were supposed to be maybe somewhere else, but then you get to stop and actually appreciate kind of the moment, and usually a good thing evolves out of that, a friendship,
Mm.
like
Mm.
just like maybe some time to actually cook something or so that's something I really like because it changed majorly my mindset, like with life as well, like with just kind of handling problems different.
Mm. Yeah, seeing it like not as an obstacle, but just seeing it as an opportunity in a way, isn't it? Because that's like life. Like you will make plans, you will want to like make plans to go in a certain direction, and then like life happens, and then you can get upset and sort of uptight and pissed off and whatever. So you are right, like honestly, when you talk about that.
And like, how to put it, everything we saw is enough, if that makes sense. It's like, I think my only regret is not seeing that waterfall past the we just a quick little tangent. We got to these geysers in Iceland. They're amazing. They're like, I think the world only has like 5 active geysers and stuff. So that was cool. You know, the water's flying and, you know, super heated stuff. And then we're like, okay, cool, that's it. We leave, you know. And then I'm like doing some research. Turns out like Europe's biggest waterfall is like 5 minutes away, like from that place. And we just missed it because we didn't like check the map or something.
You're still burning. You're still burning about that. Like,
Iceland has a million waterfalls anyway, so you kind of not that you get over it, but it's like, oh, cool, there's another waterfall. But this is like the one to see, you know. I was just like,
it was
really,
the one. Which outfit? I
Yeah.
can see you guys doing this sort of stuff with your kids again. Like I can see, like, do you know what I mean? I think it's once you visited those places, you revisit them in a different way. Like you would do it, differently when you go back. But then you have that experience of being at the workshop and being with the locals, and like that's maybe stuff that people don't get to experience.
100%. But I did not go back and visit further, you know, and his friends, Palmer, you know, like they got some funny names up there.
Yeah, like
I'm probably enjoying it. But with my child, you know, and like, yeah, it's amazing. And I really think that we could, like, hypothetically, if we were to do the trip again, all the trips again, I could go to the houses again and spend some time with these amazing people that, to be honest, made this trip possible. Like the Iceland trip, the Morocco trip, you know, yeah, all of it. Like some solid connections have been born out of this. And I guess that's a kind of compliment to our openness. Sorry.
no, all good. And you guys are very open, like as well. Like you're very warm and I think you guys are such a good representation of like Switzerland and Australia and Bosnia as well, like tying all those connections together. Because I think our countries are so underestimated, like I don't know, I know what you mean when you say like you go back somewhere and you're like, oh, you need to go here or you need to go there. Because I feel like they don't get as much recognition. Um, it is getting there, it is getting better, but I think it's awesome that you guys have created these opportunities for yourself to travel everywhere, but then at the same time, you're spreading your culture and your heritage as well.
Can you hear me now?
Sure, yeah, yes, got it, perfect.
Okay.
It was like rhyming. I was trying to like lip read. And I did see that you guys had 2 steering wheels. Am I correct? Like in the car? No? Like,
That was just Photoshop because we wanted that was no.
Oh no,
That's basically Photoshop that because I like Photoshop. We don't use really
Yeah, I'm not.
Photoshop. This was for a specific project about equal rights of women and men, and yeah,
Yeah, equality.
kind of
Equality.
I thought that this represented like
that's awesome. That's awesome. So
Yeah,
who did majority of the driving? Like, did you guys split the trips sort of evenly, or was it just like spontaneous? Or
I mean, it's good to see what Leila's gonna say.
like when we are here, to be honest, he drives most of the time. But on our trips, I do a lot of driving as well. Like
What?
I do the driving when it's the hardest.
No, man. Come on,
Like,
it's not like
Wind
out of
and snow and rain and ice and everything. Usually,
either
Even like
maybe 99.5% of the driving.
hey, us girls, we get tired. Like it's different. We have like hormones, like things happen every month. Like we just need more rest.
just he loves the car so much. It's like he's really. I feel like he's one with the car. It's really interesting. For me, I definitely also got a feeling for the car now. Like I hear if something sounds odd, but he has like such a specific connection to the car that like I never felt not safe. Well, I can't say that.
You can like.
She's like, well, you can tell me everything. It's okay.
Yeah.
car, so I'm doing the Fića is my best.
Yeah, Fića is like a mega slow car. So,
But he likes
but
corners and
but
birthday.
it can be fast.
Yeah.
I have
You got to know how to drive it. Like you've got to have a feel like for the car with the car. Like I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. Not that I'm like a Formula One car driver of any sort. I drive like a nana, but like I totally get what you're trying to say, Lejla. Yeah, you sort of have to know how to drive that car specifically. Yeah, to make it.
It requires attention. You can't. It's not a automatic cruise control with lane assist and all of that.
Yeah, like it's just easy.
But I think that's a beautiful part of it because, I mean, there's definitely a communication between, even us and the car, not just me driving it.
Yeah. Well, it's like two pilots, like you guys know it so well. Like if you got another two people to sit in it,
I'm the engineer.
I'm like, where's the brains? Like, I saw you filling out that logbook, like, with something for fuel. I was like, što ona radi? Like, piše. I'm like, that is so cool. I'm like, that's nothing spontaneous about that. So, like you said, it is a level of like being spontaneous and having to pre-play it as well. Yeah. And what did you? Oh, you've got it there.
Yeah, this
is amazing.
It's cute as.
We're just looking the other day at it. A petrol diary.
That is really cool. Like, imagine one day when your little one sees that, your little ones, like that would be just really cool.
On the 26th of the 9th, 2019, we hit 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Wow, that is so cool. So what did your families think about about your venture at the time? Like what, obviously you didn't like plan like, okay, I'm going to finish high school and I'm going to be a blogger, like, or I'm going to have a big following. So like, what did the families, like, are they quite traditional in their views in terms of like, what are you doing? Get a real job? Are you traveling around? Or are they quite liberal in that way?
I mean, that not really, not very traditional when you compare it to how bad it could be from their side. Like they give us a lot of freedom, and support, definitely. I mean, look, I grew up listening to my dad's stories about traveling, about how he went here, how they, packed up and just went to, Italy, how they, back in the Yugoslavia, it was a bit different, right? So there's quite a lot of those stories. Mum has her own stories, obviously, but like what I also grew up with is a family that traveled heaps. So when we arrived to Australia, it was like, okay, cool, we live in this area, but, let's see what else this country has. So like most weekends would be in the car, like depends, either sweating because we didn't have air conditioning in the, Holden Kingswood, or, like on our way to Phillip Island, to Warburton, to Ballarat, like just
that's
explore.
Awesome. So you got your adventurous spirit, like from a young age.
Right. I got it through my family, really. Yeah. I guess you kind of got it through rebellion rather than.
Oh, Lejla, I feel girl. Oh, another Balkan sister who had to rebel. Like, that doesn't sound like very cliche at all. So how was your family? Like you get with this guy, like comes from Australia, drives a Fića, and you're like, see ya, bye guys, gonna just go travel around.
I did a lot of pre-work to that. I understand, like I traveled heaps beforehand. Like basically when I turned 18, I was like, goodbye guys. I'm gonna go wherever I want. It was definitely a rebellious act. And I usually also chose like places they weren't really okay with. Like I would travel to Brazil or Colombia, which are not the safest known places. But my parents, I think, like, for example, my mom, she always wished to travel, but she never really had the opportunity for that.
Yeah.
And she was obviously always scared. Yeah, she's now a little traveler.
It's never too late. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it kind of, they adapted to it, or they were expecting it in a way from me to not end up in Switzerland and like doing the right thing.
Yes, correct. Like going to university, settling down, then all that sort of stuff, which is, I think for girls growing up in that culture, like even for me, same thing, like you said, magic number 18, like I'm out of here. Like Like how it's a big deal in our culture, it's not a big deal maybe in another culture, so I can definitely relate to that. And the thing is, our kids become our biggest teacher. So in a way, like your mum seeing you do what you did maybe gave her the liberation to be like, "Nini kat kasno, like ode i ja, like I'm gonna travel around as well."
Oh, just only had, but we just got to get a dad to travel, but he's a bit scared of the plane.
It sounds like my dad. My dad travels like once every 10 years.
He can't fly the plane. When did he fly there?
My dad, literally, he had to do that. That was like, because it was a must, but now it's a choice. And he's like, imam ja svoj prozor, svoj cigaru, and like his laptop. And he's like, ja sam relax. Like, and that's just his like chill state. So I just like honor it. I respect it. But like you guys, I think this generation, our generation, we have a little bit more of that like rebellious spirit of like wanting to just to get out there.
Well, I mean, thank God we do have the opportunity as well, so like
100%.
you can't
We're
really
lucky. We're lucky. On the back of their sacrifices, we've had nice lives.
100%.
Absolutely.
But we definitely kind of know that's true.
And how has it changed for you guys? Like now that you're parents, like, because this is the big one, like that, like, I'm bloody transformed, like changed, altered, stretched, I'm all of it, like since I've had my little one. So how was the experience for you guys? Because you went from being like digital nomads, traveling everywhere, just the two of you, like in this little pack, to your little baby boy now and like another bub on the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's maybe
Um,
something for you to start with.
Well, in the beginning, I felt like everything has changed in a way of, like you change as a person when you're a mom. You worry definitely a bit more. You think about more things. But I realized, like, as soon as he was like 3 months old, we started again traveling. Like in how to say, we didn't go to very exotic places, but we did a little trip to Otter Beach with him. That was the first time him seeing salty water or swimming in salty water. And he was 3 months or 3 months old, I think. Yeah. And from then on, like we wanted to a bigger trip with him. We are kind of aware that it takes some adaptations of traveling. I think it slows down traveling, like even now, because we're like every week somewhere else in Bosnia, and sometimes with the Fića, sometimes with another car. Depends how much in a rush we are. Yeah, in a rush we are. But I feel like it just needs some adaptation. But I don't feel like it changed majorly because he's such a cool little guy. Like loves to be in the car.
He looks so awesome, honestly. I want his life. Like when I saw you guys at the top of Sarajevo, like pouring the coffee, and then I saw like 15 people, like 10 people, like a crowd, and he's running around and he's like talking, like it was just so cool. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like he's got the best parents, you got the best kid. Like how you said, sometimes you feel like he's struck gold. You're like, that's a good baby. But it's also your attitude towards it as well.
100%. I mean, look, you never know what you're going to get, right? With the kid.
Yeah. You're like, are you listening?
But like, even if it was difficult, I don't know how much changing we would do. But I have to kind of mention that we haven't gone on it. You know what I mean? So we're talking about it, but I'm just saying
just about the timing.
we should go on a trip. But it's not even his fault. It's like life has kind of not allowed us to go on a trip. It's mind bending for me that we haven't gone on a trip now.
Well, we're in Australia just a few months ago.
Oh, damn it. That's good.
So did you guys come to Australia during COVID? Like, did you guys come during that time or after?
It was kind of the end of COVID in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. December.
It was Christmas Day.
Just when they made it possible for family members to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we traveled, and we wanted him to meet his family, and we wanted to spend some time in Australia. But we we made some little trips. We went also camping with him. We went to some amazing beaches around, but
Mhm.
we didn't do a feature crew trip. So
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we do. And yeah, we are still like not really sure what the next destination could be. I mean, we have a lot of possible destinations, but it's a bit hard to decide just because of the timing you get, and not
Yeah.
because of it is. It's more because of me being pregnant again and being aware that yeah,
Oh,
you know,
look, we're parents
that,
now. Like, whether we want to admit it or not, we have to be responsible. Like, we have to, like, do you know what I mean? It's like one part of your brain is like, yeah, fun, like, just go for it. Then the other part of the brain's like, no, like, it's like that responsible one, like, at least you're pregnant, so you're thinking like ahead, like, where am I going to be? Like, like, it's all adaptations, and it's a short period of time that they're little. Like,
That's
do you know what I
and
mean?
I also want to have like, I mean, like we want to have a trip with him alone.
Yeah.
Like I want to grows up, we'll be like, we could put it on his nose, or the other one, like, we're going on a trip. We do that.
And I saw you have ISOFIX. Like, you literally have. Okay, so for people who don't know, I'm trying to explain ISOFIX. You've managed to get a modernized baby chair car seat in a feature.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I bought a kind of universal isotix bracket,
Mhm.
and I adapted it to fit into the future. But what kind of made me sad is after I did that, I realized I probably won't have room for another baby. So,
So you were like, damn it, I should have got a combi to begin with. Like,
yeah, why? I didn't think it would be this good. It's all good.
so
But
do
yeah,
you
so
think,
I,
like,
it's a
you'll
basic
keep,
space.
yeah. So you'll keep the feature forever, right? Like, I mean, do you feel like you will? Do you feel like, what's your relationship with the feature now in terms of, like, is it something nostalgic you want to hang on to? Is it something you want to sell, move forward, like gift on, or?
I don't know. Featured family. Like, what am I going to sell? Like what we're going to make a couple $100. Well, now you're actually going up in price, but you're going to make some money that they'll probably disappear into thin air anyway. So no, feature stays. We actually have two feature. We have a yellow one as well. Um, Good. And that's we're kind of renting that one out. So it's already done its first wedding. It's been on a honeymoon. It's actually did its own adventure through Italy, and we haven't seen it since we got back. So it's a bad little feature. We haven't
I
seen it
think
since.
it's amazing. Like those images, like, so of those two people that were traveling on their honeymoon, like, for anyone who hasn't maybe been on your page or hasn't revisited it, like, I encourage people to do so, because that car literally fit into that environment so well. Like, especially that color. It just, I don't know, like the symbolism of it, like seeing all the lemons everywhere, like the trees and the
Right.
greenery and the roads. I was just like, man, that's and I saw that you won second prize at like Sarajevo Photography Festival for like one of
Correct.
your photos. So I was like, are people able to purchase any of these pictures in the future? Is that like something that like is gonna be possible? Because the photos are awesome.
Thank you very much for the compliment.
And I'm sure Layla took a lot of them too. So I'm not like, it's like both ways, you know what I mean? But I just think the pictures are
I
so
can't. I
awesome.
can't
Like,
stop photography.
I do detail photos, but Amar is a professional photographer, videographer after all.
Yeah.
Like he does that. He does not only feature photos, he does photo shootings as well. He does advertisement, weddings, like whatever is needed. Amar is your guy.
oh, the
Contact.
pictures, honestly, guys, like on the page itself is so gorgeous. Like, it's so well thought out. Like, it's just, you feel like you're on a journey, like with you guys. And then also like the people that took it to the honeymoon, you sort of feel like you're there with them, but you're not.
Well, we had to like when we handed the car over to them, like we kind of asked, we didn't want to intrude into their honeymoon, obviously, but we also kind of just asked them to document certain things and post it. And I guess they got a bit of experience as well following us. So like when I saw Hamza's stories, I was like, they're virtually like my stories. Like I can't post the same
But
stuff.
to be honest, like we are literally best friends. Like,
Yeah, we are. Me and
and
Hamza was.
they hang
Yeah,
out.
like it's so consistent. Like, it was really consistent with what you guys have previously posted. Like, Like I didn't even realize it was like other people taking the images, So I thought that was really cool. So is that something that people can do now? So let's say people are going to Bosnia, they're going on a trip, or they live in Bosnia, they may be getting married, they want to go on a hike. Well, what are the options with this cute little yellow feature?
Oh, so that feature, so the yellow feature is up for rent. Um, it's uh, it's not a like it's not a museum piece. It's a usable car. But it's super cute, and like we spent some time and money and effort to getting it kind of up to speed and restoring it, bringing it like giving it a new lease of life, and so other people can enjoy it as well. So it's up for joyride. I mean, it's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
So like it's like a rental car where the guy throws the keys to you. Like they'll definitely have to spend some time with the people and be like, okay, this is this shows that's
Need like a PDF document, like right, like
oh with introduction. It's like the first
yeah,
time
correct.
each other.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the agree the future is the character, it's not just the car. So that's what people I guess would rent it out for. Weddings and joy rides and maybe surprising their dad, who had a feature back in the day. So we've had offers like that before, which we've kind of rejected because our green feature was our green feature, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is more of a, friendly, golden retriever or something.
I think it's awesome, and I think it's the best idea because it's such a good like segue, like to where you guys started, where you guys are now, and like the life of the future and like where it's going. It's almost like a little brother sister, like the green and the yellow car. Like it's awesome. It's like a
Yeah.
little family. So I think that'll be such a cool experience. Like if even Andrew and I are coming to Sarajevo, which we want to do, obviously, who doesn't? But even for people who are local, like just to be able to get it, rent it out for the day, half the day, take photos, just have fun with it, like go for a coffee. Like it's iconic.
100%. It doesn't require, honestly, sitting in that car is a different experience. Like you'll sit in the car and, people are waving at you, they're smiling at you for no reason. I'm like, what the hell are you smiling at?
You're like trying to eat your sandwich and you're like, oh,
Yeah. I was going to use an example. I was going to tell you to pick your nose, without people staring at you. But they were like constantly
yeah.
staring at
But it's
you. Can't
like
even go
if you're
sleeping.
in another car and then you don't have it staring, it's also weird because
Yeah.
you're so used to it that everyone is looking at you.
Yeah.
Have
I
you
mean,
seen
look,
any other features driving around, like in any of the other countries? Have you seen a few in passing?
not really actually. A feature like the 600 model or the
Right.
750. No. I have seen them at car meets. So I think they're like these cars that kind of get used. There's a few people, like, can't generalize everything. Yes, there's a few people that do drive their cars and go on like big drives and we're friends with them and they do a good job as well, but nothing as crazy as feature crew, to be honest. Like,
And
yeah.
that's the environment to do it in as well, because I feel like Europe and future, like it just goes hand in hand as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
I mean, to see photos from Algeria in the future, like when we went to Algeria, and it was just like the people went nuts, and they were like, they would be calling me Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean. That's right, I'll take it. Like,
Yeah, like because to them that it would just look so
yeah,
out of place, like that. It's
yeah.
yeah. So how did you find like going to Australia and being with the family, and what was that turning point for you guys? Like, I guess it's taken a little bit back to the beginning of the when we started chatting of deciding when you guys would live. Like because obviously, like you got Switzerland connection, then you got Australia connection. So I mean, was it a no-brainer in a way just to be like, let's stay here, or was it just like a mutual place where you thought this would be a great place to create our life?
I think it's um, for me, it was more like a more adventurous decision. Like I mean, there's a lot of stuff associated with that decision, we did discuss it, but it's more like when I describe this, I say I didn't want to rip Layla out of Switzerland, out of her friend circle, out of this, out of that, and just put her into Australia where I'm completely at ease. And, not that she couldn't
Straight up
adapt,
way.
but
Wow.
yeah, it wouldn't be the same me going to Switzerland. It's like this developed country where you kind of know exactly what's going to happen. And, you apply for this, you apply for that, you get going, and then hop to.
Mm.
Whereas, yeah, shit, we don't know what's happening next thing. Like, hey, where are you? Like, let's do this, let's do that. Like and legitimately, it's an adventure. The Bosnia for us, well, for me, has been an eye opener for sure. Where it was a whole range of things, with
Mm.
you know, the importance of certain things in life, and finances, and like um,
It's a
just
different feel, right? Like it's a different, like, how would you guys describe it? Because me and my best friend Franca, like we talk about this all the time and we don't know how to describe it to other people. There's just some sort of weird magic there. Like it's just a different, like maybe because you guys are there every day, but it's like we're here and I can't replicate that environment. Like I have a little son and I talk the language to him and we have little cards and we read and we got the books, but it's so hard for me to hang on to my culture. It's so hard for me to hang on to that like magic that I grew up with. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I have to like every day consciously make an effort to hang on to it. What do you think is that? Like obviously being Switzerland, being in Australia, it's just and then being in Boston, like what's the best way that you would describe it? And I had to leave you guys at that. If you want to know the answer from the Fića crew, and the magic that the Balkan people and the Balkan lands possess, make sure you listen to the next episode, part 2, where we continue our chat and they answer all of my juicy questions. So that was the episode. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And as ever, if you did, please consider sharing it with your loved ones and leaving me a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It really does make a difference to the number of Balkan sisters that we can reach with the brilliant wisdom that my guests and I share. Thanks for being here. I doviđenja.